New project time. This is a ash burl I found in the surf, in the ocean. And it is going to be pretty cool when I'm done. This is going to be an eagle. And this is one of the in the eagle project, I'm doing all 62 species. I've done 2 species to date. And so this is going to be another one. And one guy is buying every single one of these things as a collection. And so this is the eagle I'm doing. It is a, I'll give you a little bit bigger shot of it there. It's the largest. It's the Stellar Sea Eagle. This one they caught. It's actually banded. It's probably a younger one as well. They can be up to 9 foot 6 inches across wingtip to wingtip. Massive bird, about 23 pounds, up to 24 pounds, I believe, female. And this is a massive bird. I mean, they are huge things. And so, yeah, they've got the biggest beak. They do not have the largest talons. The largest talons, the monkey eagle, down in South America, or in Central America, Belize. And it's also where the harpy is. The harpy is another one that's tied with the golden eagle. This is going to be an eagle. You can see the beak coming. This is where the head's going to be. He's going to be twisted around. It's going to be at an angle. You can see this crotch of this tree I'm going to do here. And it's going to come down, join into this thing. And so this is going to be a really cool carving. I'll come back and forth to it as I proceed and show you how I do this. There's going to be the baking soda trick involved. This is going to be a good piece for you guys to learn something on. So I'll come back when it starts to get more interesting. Get rid of a lot of this stuff so you can see the shape of this thing. Because this is a pretty boring project until you get to the shape. And so we will return. I'll see you later. Bye. All right, further into this bird. I still got a flat spot going here. You can see how flat that is. But you can see where the beak is going to go here. And this is going to be a limb coming out here, right here. And it'll have a crotch. I'm going to do a crotch right there. And this is where the feet are going to be. Like I said, this is the picture that I'm doing it off of. This guy right here. This is a better shot. Right there is pretty good, yeah? See how that goes up at an angle. And that's what I got going here. And it was naturally in the piece. And I look for that. It takes a lot of work out of it, for one thing. But also the wood works with you instead of you fighting against it, trying to make it into something that it's not going to be, or doesn't want to be. You can see the shape of it starting to happen here. Okay. And he's going to be looking up, kind of like, yeah, an upward pose. Well, we'll come back to this when I'm further into it and show you some cool stuff later. See how it's coming along. Now the beak is going to be covered with turmeric so I can get the right color. And so are the feet. I have just started working down into that area. But you can see the basic shape of this thing is all starting to come out. You got the angle on the feet. This foot's going to be way down here, and this one's going to be up higher. So they'll be at an angle, like the picture. Real close to that right there. See that angle? Well, I extended the tree out just because I had the wood there. I'll turn that into a bunch of forks and stuff. Reduce all this stuff, and the feet will start to appear. And it comes through, and it turns into this root system down here. Now, I'm going to show you how I trim these out and hollow all of this stuff out here. All right, here we are, far into the roots. I opened it all up. I still got some trimming here and there to go. These striations coming down or make it look like it's old and craggy. I'll show you how I do that. It's really easy, you know. Simple. And keep it simple. You don't have to overdo, but nice gradual curves. Your little tool. Do a couple more. Break up your length. If you have them all the same length, then it doesn't look natural. You can start here. Dig in a little bit. Make some of them deeper than others. And there's just the declaration of making the rest of this stuff kind of fall out of sight. It goes underneath of it. You don't have to go very far neither to make it look like it's 3D. The more you clean up, better it's going to look. That's just patience, patience, patience. The other thing you need to learn, it's definitely a learning process, is when to stop. You can take things too far. All right, I'm going to do some toes. Here we are right here. And see how these toes are here. That humps way up in the air. This one stretches out. You can see how the toes are going to go. I'm going to try and get there with them, you know. Toes end up where they end up, kind of. Then I'm going to cover them with turmeric. I want to get this yellow color of this beak. And so, and the feet are quite yellow on this guy. And the beak is really yellow. So we're going to use turmeric on that to bring that yellow color out. It'll be striking. I'll show you how to do that a little later on with turmeric and crazy glue, CA. Start out with, polish it up a little bit if you want to draw on it. So put your sander in. Your sander guy, this guy here, this tool. This is an awesome tool for this. And just going to brush it off. Smooth out the ridges from the machining of it. Make sure you have your suction device in there, or a mask on, maybe both. Take care of your lungs. Remember, all wood is poisonous to the human system, the human body. Lungs, even smoking through your skin. I can't work walnut because walnut, I'm really allergic to it nowadays. It's my primary wood for, I don't know, 30 years. Way back in high school too, I worked a lot of walnut. For cabinets, and did whole trees, big trees. Yeah, we got. Now I'm looking right at the drawing right now, and I'm going to try and come close to what these toes are. So you just want to. This is a middle toe, and exaggerated proportions to begin with. I'm going to start out a little bit bigger. Got your claw coming down. Big old claw. Pencil lines can disappear very quickly when you're left with nothing. But if you dive into this thing with this tool, that leaves quite a deep mark that you're not going to wipe out by your tool that you use.
You're not going to wipe that line out. That's your line's going to be there for a while. And these are just how big the toe transfers to as far as size. Okay. Way bigger than what they're going to end up. But you want to start out big. Take it to the line. Push past your line. Then you're going to start to work the carving. Rough out process. Always start out bigger and reduce.
You put one of these prickly guys in there. These are cool little tools. These are actually made by Dremel. And they are cool. They're a little expensive, but they're very, very good. They're titanium carbide. Little tiny titties on there. And these guys are bad to the bone. They did a nice job making this tool.
Grind all that material away straight up and down. Boom, boom. You're just squaring off right now is all you're doing. Roughing in. To make this tree quite a bit smaller so your toes stick out. But they're also going to be built up with the turmeric. And so even if you make a mistake on these, the turmeric is a cool way to increase the size. You want them yellow anyhow, you know. And you want to pick up the shape of your tree if you want to do something special and push that through the whole carving as you go. If you want to pick that up. Or you can just go with it. I'm going to stop it right here because it's going to make it too complicated. You could push it all the way through this double thing. But I want it to go back into one piece and just reduce everything around it and end up with my toes. Now I'm going to make them a little bit smaller and then cover them with turmeric to get the yellow color. And I'll show you that process a little later. Okay, you can see what I've done here, left it quite big. And then you're going to trim it back. You start trimming it back. What you want to try and do is maintain the same level from here to here, there, and continue that level. Excuse me. Continue that level right through your rough out. They can be off a little bit. You're going to trade that up later. Push in on that edge. Now these have feathers. Come right down to there. Take your tool, push that back to that ankle. Don't go too far. Make a declaration line. Push right in. This is a little higher. Okay, got the idea. There they are roughed in. And now you're going to reduce and do your claw. And then you're going to cover the whole thing with, I'm going to cover the whole thing with turmeric, all these toes. Up into the ankle. And it disappears into the feathers. Those are going to be white. And so from this point on, this is going to be a buildup of baking soda and CA. And so there's going to be quite a stunning change between the two. Then they've got white in the wings and a little bit in the head. And then the beak will be all turmeric as well. All right, we're going to come back to you at a later time and further into this guy. See you next time. Bye. Okay, back again. What I've done here is I've chiseled out, or ground out actually, with the tools I've been showing you. Grind this down about 1/8 of an inch. That's where the crazy glue and CA, or the CA and baking soda trick is going to come into this. It's going to come up to the base of the rest of the feathers that are here. And these are the pre-feathers. You got your center fret, Okay, it's a channel, and so you got your center fret, so it looks like a real feather, and you've carved out around each feather that black line using your little saw tool that you don't know how to make yet, but you will. And it's chiseled out or ground out up here too, about not quite an eighth of an inch, but close. I might take it down a little bit further. And that's where the baking soda and crazy glue is going to go. Let me see this white area here, and this is white. The legs are white, and then we're going to do the turmeric on the beak and on the feet. You can see the color of that. It's just really turmeric and CA overlay. And I'll show you that at a later date. Right now I'm going to show you how to do feathers. So get this in a position where I can work on it. So you can see. We've got a claw here. Yeah. We'll kind of buff it up a little bit. This is a claw. It's a feathering tool that I've devised. Comes down to a diamond-shaped point. Eventually I'll show you how to make this stuff too. And here we go. Feathering. Each little fret makes a difference. These separations are called frets. That's what I call them anyway. Slip-offs, they happen all the time. I'm going to have to bring this up, back it off a little bit. The tool is getting in the way of the tool. Feather like this, you can see this is a little bit small on one side, but you can see the reason why that feather changes is because of the angle that feather is put together. See that, how that separates? Each one of them. You want to try and emulate that. Now you're only going to get close. You're not going to make it exact. It ain't going to happen because you can't get that fine and maintain that detail that feather is. See that? That's less than a hair. That's one little fret right there. You try and do that continuously, you're going to do it as close as you can get to what that feather is. If you magnify this, it looks like a scale. That's what you want to try and do, and that's that center fret that I was telling you about. That is rounded off, and it's like this. So you make a tool. All right, here we go. I'm going to push right up into that, right? Almost, and you can, what you do is you rerun this. After you got your channel in there, the channel's in there. So if you make a little mistake, just run that in there a little bit. Run that right up, clean that up, it's all different. But what I was getting to is your angle of inception is what's going to set that feather apart. You go this way at that angle, and then it's 180 degrees out to do that other side. So you do one side of the feather first. I use magnifying glasses because you can do so much finer work than what your eye can see. And then that transfers into the quality of the piece in the end. Try and do it with the naked eye. See, I'm not going up all the way, neither right here. I'm stopping shy. Show you the reason why in a second. Just keep going with that angle. So you set your angle of your fret as you go up, all the way to the end as much as you can do. Then you use the tip to finish that out. That right there. I think I'm going to change the angle of this camera so you get a different view. Straight down onto the carving. Another thing I like to do is work on the angle of the inception of these things. Feather. Okay, now you see the difference in color and kind of the texture between this and that. This and the saw it's very different. You can get some really different color or shades out of it by turning the speed up and down too. This is the hottest speed. What I'm going to do here is take this micro torch. See that? And that comes pretty close to what the electric soldering iron tool does. A little bit more even darker. Then you take your I use a brass brush for this, and just kind of sweep out the char, and that'll give you the definition of what you have burned. This area was really tough because this is in the way. All right, from this point on, it gets kind of boring. Like I've said before, it's the process that you have to do all the way across. You start from this point, you go all the way across, then you do your next one, go all the way across. Then you take this thing and turn it 180 degrees out using your tool. And then you do the other side of the feather. 180 degrees out. Your angle is this way on this side, but it's opposite on the other side. That's where you get the change in your feather. That's how you get that change. Okay, we're going to come back after quite a while here and show you how this thing turns out. Take it easy. Bye. All right. Got quite a few of these feathers done now. Half done, and because that's like the other angle, like I said. So you can see how this is coming together. There we are. You see how that happened. Okay, I'll come back later on and show you more of it done, and then we'll start to do the baking soda and crazy glue CA trick, and then the feet and the beak. That's going to be turmeric, which is a spice. Orange. It's an orange color, and that's going to emulate the color on the beak. Right there, and the feet. So they're going to try and get that color. Maybe not quite that vibrant, but that's my plan. And you'll see how that goes too. It's a little bit different than the baking soda crazy glue trick as far as the time. It doesn't set up like that. It takes longer to set up. And so, but I'm going to show you that trick as well. And these are going to be white too, the legs coming down. So there's going to be quite a bit of activity as far as the baking soda crazy glue thing. So we'll come back to this at a later date and show you how this is looking. Later. All right, back again. I've got quite a few of these feathers here in the chest, leading up into the feet. Excuse me, broken in or cut in, and this is how I do it. Real simple. I don't draw it out. You can, but I don't draw it out. I just go for it. I know basically what I want to get done here. These are just obscure little feathers in the chest. No true design except they come to a point. You can have different sized ones. You stretch out from that wing, which is going to be white. This is all going to be white. I've got to chisel that area out and chisel this area out and break that down, go that down a little lower. What I mean by that, right here. You got to make room for the baking soda and crazy glue or CA. You gotta be. It has to be close to 1/8 of an inch of depth. Otherwise, you see the wood through the CA and the baking soda. This is the lighter colored wood. Otherwise, I'd even go deeper. All the feathers from this point on are going to be black. But this is where the baking soda trick ends. And so you have to take that material away in order for it to build up. So you can't see the wood back behind it, because it's kind of transparent. Translucent, I guess. Translucent. So you can see through it, partially. Light will transfer through it. So there's that one. Now we gotta do this other side over here. They don't have to be the same because it's twisted around. The body of this thing is twisted around in such a way where it distorts the feathers. And so it's not going to be the same. Another thing you've got going on is these are white. The legs are white. So you have to take some of that material away as well. Not a lot. It's less. But you got these feathers coming up in here. So you have to drop that back. Because these feathers go over top of the baking soda. Okay, enough for now. We'll come back to this at a later time. We got these channeled out. There's a lot of stuff to do on this beast yet. And so you'll see a lot more. We'll see you next time. All right, we're back again. And right now I'm going to show you this area right here where the black feathers come down. This is channeled out about 1/8 of an inch or so with light wood. Dark wood, you have to go deeper. And so otherwise the wood from back behind will show up through the baking soda and CA and won't be as white as you want. What you do because you want these feathers to overlap. So you take your burning rod, your feather maker, okay, this guy here that you've made. Nobody makes them out there but me. And you take that and do that. They've got lots of burning tips out there, but I think they're subpar compared to mine. That's not a brag. That's just, I believe, the way it is. I've done this a long, long time. They try to do something that fits everybody's premise. Well, not every tool fits everyone's premise. So you channel underneath your feather, right at the end of it, like that. And you make that go all the way. And it's just one solid line, too, because you want these to look like they overlap the baking soda and CA that you apply. And this is the end of your white feathers on the bird. Now, that's not always true. On the back here, these feathers are going to look like they overlap. I'm not even sure if I'm lined up here or not. We'll see. I use a mirror to check this thing with because it works pretty good. These you don't want to underline. And so you just want them to come out flat with a white spot or white all the way up and down. And so those are going to look like they overlap. Okay, like they overlap these feathers here. Now you're going to have to play around with this a bit. You don't want the CA to overlap into these feathers. And so that becomes a problem. Because when you apply your baking soda, then it will overlay into it, and then you've got a back and forth war. So it's really difficult to do stuff like this and bring them together and make them look natural. But it can be done. So, I'm going to set up and do this area right here. There's lots of it to be done. This area back here has to be done. Where we at? Okay. Yeah. Might be a little bit better. Trying to get this lined up and cover the piece is really a pain. But I'm learning how to do it, you guys. So bear with me. And then it's got this one over here, and these here all have to be done. This is all going to be black going up here, and so I'll be doing the feathers coming down to this point where the wing comes together. That's where the white stops. The beak and the feet are going to be turmeric. I'll get to that at a later date. So we'll be back. All right, we're back again. I've got the feet pretty well trimmed out the way I want. A little bit of work I have to do underneath them, but I'm going to wait until after I get done with the coating on these. I'm going to do a turmeric. This is a 50-50 mix of turmeric and baking soda. You have to put the baking soda in it because the baking soda will react with the CA, the crazy glue, or super glue, whatever you want to call it, the CA. It'll react with it and make it harden a lot faster instead of using straight turmeric. It'll be a little bit less yellow than the actual turmeric, but not very much. And what I've done here is, I'll show you. I took a sifter, and then that this can come out of, and I took a paper towel, cut out a small hole in the bottom. Instead of wasting the entire screen, you make a small hole, and that keeps it from going through the entire screen. Then you get a lot more control over your area that you're putting this stuff on. So I'm going to get the some of the turmeric in here and CA, and we take the CA and put a coating, just a thin layer, thinner the better, especially with turmeric, because it will not harden very good if you don't have thin layers. You just want a thin, small area. Don't try and do a whole thing at one time either. It'll just cause a hell of a mess. You want to be on the toes as much as you can. And so just a thin layer. And this takes more time for setting up than straight baking soda does. Be very careful not to get out onto your toes where the toes meet the talons. And so it's a nice little thin layer. Don't try and cover the whole toe at one time. Just do a section like that. And you can take your applicator, if you get a big enough one like I've got here, you can get this, it's called Star Bond Medium, and that's what I like the best. And then you just take your glue bottle and just tap it. Tap the side, and then just wait. Blow your excess away. Tap a little bit more, and that'll set up on there. You see a shiny spot, and you can take a toothpick and test it to see how fast it's setting up. This is setting up fast. If you get a puddle, it's not going to set up. You'll have a skin on top of that puddle, and it'll cause you all kinds of problems. So do not over glue. See, that's all set up already. The baking soda in it is what makes it set up. So then you do another layer. This will strengthen these ankles up too. I had to take them down quite a ways. A lot of times, most of the time, you have to break these off in order to do underneath. And so when you glue them back on, normally I would put pins in them. But these were strong enough because of the way the grain was, I didn't have to do that. So just a nice thin layer right on the top of these guys. Like that. And a little bit more right there maybe. There we go. And then just nice little tap. And what that does is the granules of both the baking soda and the CA sink to the bottom of the previous level. They sink from the top to the bottom. And that's what you want them to do. That's why you tap and then you wait. You tap and then you wait. You can't really see this harden the way you do the baking soda neither. Baking soda, if you watch it real close, you can tell. You can check it with your finger too. This is setting up pretty fast. I'm liking that. And this will be more yellow when you put the finish on it too. Blow your excess away. Make sure you got your fan going, sucking the any dust away. It comes off, and you want to breathe this stuff. And you don't want to breathe the fumes neither. The fumes are real bad. So you want to get a nice layer on here, and then you're going to work that layer down into the shape of the toes, the texture that is on the toe. It gives you a carvable surface when you're done. Same as the, you can see what I did here. These are all feathered in now. I did that while this was broke off so you could get into these areas. Otherwise, you can't get into them, you know. I've started the feathers on this wing, and those you can't draw on the baking soda. If you try and draw on it, then the line, whatever material you're using, whether it's a pencil or a Sharpie or whatever you're using, gets embedded. And so you've got to guess where these feathers are and carve them in with your micro saw as you go. It's kind of a hassle, but it works. All right, here we go. See, you're getting a layer on here. It's starting to turn pretty yellow. I'm liking it. Baking soda is going to give it a little bit less color than it would be normally without it, but the baking soda also is the reason why it hardens. Otherwise, it doesn't harden very well. Oop, bumped that thing there. Let me check and see if I'm camera's still supposed to be where it is. I just bumped it. I'm going to give it a check here. Oh yeah, we're doing good. Pull it out a little bit. That far. Okay. Continue the build up on the top of these guys. Just a nice little layer right on the top of all of that area. Instead of trying to do the whole thing at one time. You can't, for one thing. It's impossible to do it. You got to hit different angles because of gravity, you know. So, back with the tap, 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 tap.
Yeah. Give it some time. Just like 15 seconds maybe. And then give it another little tap. Cover the area. Give it a check. Yeah, it's good. It's working good. Get a good layer. You can always reduce it. So you might as well build it up more than what you need and then take it back to where you want it to be. And that's what this baking soda and turmeric baking soda trick is all about. Is application beyond the size that you want, and then it turns into a carvable surface. And then you can manipulate it down to the size that you want it to be. Alright, tap, tap, just a couple little taps, not very big ones, and then just wait for 10-12 seconds. Tap, tap, tap. And finish tap. There you go. Now, I'm going to do another layer here. It's building up good. I'm liking it. This requires a small hole in the end of that thing. Do a little guy. It gives you a lot more control. And just use the applicator to move it around where you want it to be. And just be precise. Like that. Okay. Ten, 12 seconds. Blow the excess away. Give another little tap, tap. All right, now that's built up on the top as much as you need to go. So, what you do now is you change your angle. Like that, and you're going to have to do one toe at a time now. I'm going to relocate the camera and lights and stuff here. So here we go. Camera's kind of in the way here, so bear with me. And tap, tap. The turmeric is a little bit more absorbent than the baking soda. Kind of holds the CA in place a little bit better, I think. Okay, that's done on that side. I'm probably going to do some more, but we need to change this angle now. Get into that other toe. Okay, you got the idea how to do all that. We'll come back and I'll show you how I'm going to do the beak with the turmeric and the baking soda. And then I'm going to show you how to do, well, I could show you a little bit of the feathering process right now. I've got these worked in. This is micro saw, big one. Okay, show you how to make those eventually. Real slow speed, guys. If you don't use a slow speed, it'll build up. Magnifying glasses on. And what I'm going to do here is do a center line or a fret. And you want to pull into that cut. I'll show you why. The difference between go into your, it's going around in this way, clockwise. So you want to push into that. Now, otherwise, if you go the other way, I'll show you what it does. It will leave a trail of CA in that groove. And so you always want to pull into that, if you can. Just individual little cuts up to that center line or that center fret. Usually I start out at the tip, but we're going to go for it here. And as you go down, you want it to be like a feather.
So you adjust your angle a little bit to where you end up perpendicular with your center line or your center fret. And you can do it from both sides. You don't have, this isn't about angling. This is about just getting that cut in there. You want to try not to touch the feather on the other side. That's what the groove is for. Okay? Do that. And that's 1/2 of that feather. And then you come back, and it's just a little bit of a feather because your other feather comes into it right there. And you just want to touch off into your black feather that you've got created already, because you want that to look like it overlaps onto the black feathers that you've got carved in there already. So here we go. Oh, a little bit more there. All right, now you take your wire brush. In this case, don't use brass. You want to use a stainless steel brush, one of these little micro stainless steel brushes, as fine as you can get. And then you just scrub that right down. It can help if you take your fingernail and work that crust off from there too. Don't try and use a metal tool because it'll just screw it up. Just take your fingernail and break those pieces off from there. You want to get as much of those out of those cuts as you can and show the detail that you've just placed onto the feather. Try not to wire brush these guys too much because it's going to take the carbon off from those, so be careful. Okay, we're going to come back to this at a later date and show you how this thing has come about. I will give you a turnaround though and show you how this is happening. These feathers back here are pretty much done. A little touch up. There you go. So you can see how that's happening. I broke this off from here so I could do all of this feather work underneath of this thing. This is really tough to get to if you don't break it off. And like I said, normally I'll put pins in these legs, but this time I'm just going to let it go. It should be strong, pretty strong. Okay, we'll come back to it at a later date. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Okay, here we are. Finally got this piece done. This was a tough one, you guys and girls. This was a tough one. Anyway, finished now. Talk to you on the next one.